answers to the questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should, knowing that my soul tells me it's not for my own good.
So we've talked about in a previous videos, I've talked about the law of attraction. I've talked about the connection to that field of intention, right? But the next part is, how do we know when we're connected and how do we know when we're not? Okay, you know, what is the difference? And the difference is actually quite substantial. It's not a small difference. So you will notice when you are not connected. So what are some of those things? Maslow, there's a quote from Maslow, and he says, self-actualizing people must be what they can be. So self-actualizing people must be what they can be, right? So that's from Maslow. And self-actualization is actually God actualization, God realization, because, or source realization. Good morning, Pat. Or source realization, because every cell in our body, every fiber in our being is filled with source, is filled with that wonderful energy of creation, right? And since it's filled with, when we're filled with it, when we go into that self-realization and self-actualization, we can't help but walk our path and purpose because we are full on connected, okay? So here's some ways to know when you are connected according to Dr. Wayne Dyer. So there's an awesome book if you want to read it. I think of it kind of like one of my Bibles, and that is The Power of Intention. The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. An amazing book. I have bought and given away so many copies of that book that now I have the book on Kindle for myself, because people come in and I just give that book away because it is honestly an amazing book. So Wayne Dyer says, when you are connected to your source, you can't help but walk your path and live out your purpose. So when you're connected, you can't help but do it. It's just going to happen. All right. You don't have to question what is my path and purpose, because it just happens. All right. When you step away from that connection, so when you move to ego, then you are living in fear, and the consequence of that is resistance. Okay? Whenever you feel resistance in your life, it's because you have walked away from source. You stepped away. You are now standing with ego. All right? So in our lives, there should be no resistance, right? There should be no resistance. Connectors, I just have to grab a Kleenex 1 second. Okay, sorry, I just have a bit of a runny nose today. Connectors, these are individuals. Connectors are individuals that are available for success. Okay, you are available for success. You are open to success. Failure is not an option. It's not something you even think about. Okay, you don't think about scarcity. You don't think about not being enough. You don't think about being a failure. You are open to success. Okay, you speak with an inner conviction because you know you will get what you are asking for. You know that that field of intention is full of abundance. Good morning, Jasmine. You know it's full of abundance. So you're fully aware that the universal source provides everything. Okay, nothing is by chance. It doesn't just fall in your lap by accident. Okay, so everything is provided for you. So you might say something like, I intend to create blank, and I know that it will work out. You know, I intend to create blank, and I know that it will work out. Good morning, Rachel. Connectors or people who are connected do not hear the reasons why things won't work out. They don't even want to hear it, okay? So it's like, I refuse to think about what can't happen because I will attract exactly what I think about. I refuse to think about what can't happen because I will attract exactly what I think about. So if you have someone in your life that's like a negative Nelly, that's always, every time you tell them something, they're telling you why it's not going to work out for you, you just have to be, I refuse to hear about that. You need to actually get up and walk away from that conversation, or just simply say, I refuse to listen to it. And if they insist, just say, I'm sorry, I can't continue this conversation, right? You do not need to listen to that negativity. You don't need to listen to that, because that will bring you into a place of fear, because they are living in fear. All right. They are walking with ego. So if you choose to walk with source and to walk with God, then you can't sit and listen to that, and you have to refuse to let that even in. Okay. I refuse to think about what can't happen because I will attract exactly what I think about. I only think about what I know will happen. I only think about what I know will happen. Okay. They don't relate. A connector does not relate to the concept of failure. There's only feedback. There is never any failure. That is something that I tell my clients all the time. You can't do anything wrong. There's no failure. There's only feedback. There's only something to learn from that. Okay. They don't dwell on what has been. All right. So some people always think about what's happened in the past. Well, it's always been like that. This has always been that way. You know how you are? You're always like that, right? You know, this type of stuff doesn't matter because it happened. You can't change it. You can't do anything about it except learn from it and then move forward from this moment forward, being present in this moment and moving forward. Thinking about how things used to be, thinking about how things were, thinking about how somebody used to treat somebody in a different way, or mistakes that you used to make, or if you have that relative that loves to dwell up your past and remind you of all your mistakes, that has been. That is not who you are in this moment. So up until 5 minutes ago, if you were scarcity mindset, that has been. That's not the way that it is now. Okay? You can change your mindset at any time. That is your choice. Okay? So a connector, someone who's connected, focuses on the infinite supply and can't relate to scarcity or things not working out. They know that they will receive precisely what they send to source. What you send to source, you will get. It's that simple. You go to the store, you want some yogurt, you give some money, you get your yogurt. Done. Just like that. Okay? So what you send to source, you will get. Okay? We live in a universe of abundance and attraction. And we can't rely on ego to fulfill our desires. You can't go to ego and expect ego to give you what you want. Okay? Ego's going to tell you what you can't have. Ego's going to try to bring you down. Ego's going to try and be that anchor around your ankle. Okay? Ego is going to try to do all of those things. But you need to have faith. Okay? You need to know that there is something bigger out there, and this is not even a faith thing. This is something that's been proven. That energy will give it to us. All right? Think about even scientifically, right? I always say science and spirituality used to be here and here, and now they're like right together. Okay? Because things are being proven. All right? Be like your source. Be like your source. I am one with you is something that I say a lot throughout the day. I am one with you. I am one with you. I am one with you. Okay? Be like your source. Reconnect to your source, and your intentions will match up perfectly. So, a connector, be consistent, and then watch for the clues that are being sent. This one is awesome. So, if you are consistent in asking for things, okay, if you are consistent in asking for things, right now I am like right on this, I'm going to make $50,000 a month. So I am consistent in asking for this. And now people are showing up in my life that are going to help me get there. Okay. Even if I thought that that person wasn't going to be that person to help me, all of a sudden things have switched around on me and they are helping me, right? They are planning, we're rebranding. There's like a lot of things going on to get me there. Okay. So, and sometimes things show up that look like setbacks, right? But they're not setbacks. There's something to be learned from that. So once you ask for things, once you put it out there that this is your intention to have this, this is your intention to bring in this into your life, you can't just close your eyes now. You got to start looking for those clues because they're there, okay? They see all events being orchestrated. All events are being orchestrated towards that desire, even if it doesn't seem consistent with what you want, okay? So the events are being orchestrated to bring you what you want, but you need to be observant in your life. You need to be aware, mindful of what is happening. I call it being on manual, really like paying attention to what's going on. You know, that just showed up for me. You know, why did that just show up for me? Okay. Oh yeah, that can help me with this, right? That's another piece of my puzzle. That's another piece of how I'm going to get my intention, right? Oh no. I'm having a moment. One of these mornings, 1 second, my thing is out of battery. Yay, setbacks, right? So maybe this is what gives you guys time to think about what I've said so far, right? What is it that I've said so far? And of course, the cord is not plugged in, but you know what? Again, people get frustrated with stuff like this, and I just don't, because everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So when we are connected, everything happens for a reason. When we are not connected, everything happens for a reason. But we have to think about what those reasons are. We have to know that we are connected. We have to understand and pay attention to the things that are around us. So if I sit here and I say, okay, why did this run out of battery like right in this moment? You know, and then the extension cord wasn't here so I could plug it in. And I had to go get that. I'm working on something called a Remarkable right now, which is awesome. I love this thing. So when I think about all these things, I can either get frustrated that I'm like in the middle of a live and, you know, I ran out of battery, or, you know, this could also be a test for me to learn patience and just to go with the flow and not get uptight when things don't go exactly the way that I have planned, because, you know, how you plan things and how things show up can be very different. So all events, like I said, are being orchestrated towards that desire, even if they don't feel consistent with it. We have to believe in synchronicity. We have to believe in synchronicity. Okay? So believing in synchronicity, nothing is an accident. Nothing is an accident. Okay? So if we think that way, then it's about, why did this show up? Why did this happen? What does this mean? Okay, so you need to start to search within yourself to find out these reasons. You don't try to win things. So it's not about winning or losing. So when we have arguments with people, when we are frustrated, arguments and frustration only bring more arguments and frustration. That's all you're going to get from arguments and frustration. Okay? It's not about, I have to win this. I have to have the last word. I have to, like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, winning or losing an argument is not important. Sometimes it's okay to just walk away from that for a moment and just regroup and send love to that person. Even in those moments where you might want to choke them. Okay, so sending love to that person and just be like, I know that we might not always get along, right? And this is something you can even say to yourself, right? I know that we're not always going to agree, and that's okay. Okay, and I can only send love and hope into this situation and desire that it will work out. Okay, so sometimes it's best to just walk away, regroup, reconnect, okay? And Just see things through different eyes. So arguments and frustration just bring more arguments and frustration. And if you're stuck in the has-been and the laundry list, which I talked about in a previous video, you know, blah, 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 I do this for you, I do that for you, I do blah, 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 you need to do this now, and you used to be like that, and remember when you were like that, and all these types of things, we keep saying that kind of stuff, and there's no winning in that. It's just a vicious cycle of hate and frustration and hurt feelings, okay? There's an infinite supply for us to keep getting what we're asking for. I keep saying that because it's a true thing. They choose to be closely aligned to that source as possible. So we try to stay as closely aligned to source as possible. I mean, the ultimate goal is to be one with source, right? So that ultimate goal is to raise our frequency and vibration and be one with source, to be as close as we can. Okay, and that's not going to happen when we're hanging out with ego and we're arguing and falling into that separation of them and me and them and us and separating people and racism and discrimination, and all of that stuff is going to not raise your vibration and frequency at all. Okay, everything in your life shows up because of the power of intention intended it there. They're always in a state of gratitude. So always be in a state of gratitude. Be grateful for everything that shows up in your life, even the setbacks. Okay, be grateful for everything that shows up in your life. All right, things happen all day long. Be grateful for them. When we are grateful, it brings more. Okay, so be grateful. Use gratitude as your currency. Okay, gratitude is your currency. Okay, there are opportunities even in the setbacks. Gratitude empowers the manifestation of intention. Like I said, use gratitude as your currency. I like that. I think I'm gonna make that a quote thing. So gratitude is your currency. Never go to source in prayer assuming something is missing unless you want to confirm that belief. Okay, so when we pray, we don't pray for, you know, oh, I hope I get more money because I can't pay my bills and I can't do this stuff. And, you know, I'm always fighting with whomever, Bob. We're always fighting with Bob, and I hope that's going to work out. And, you know, when we pray in this way, when we pray for what is missing, I'm so alone. Can you send me someone? I really need somebody in my life. When we pray for these types of things, we are only going to get what we are missing, more of what we are missing. Okay, so you have to pray for what you want as if you have it. You have to be grateful. You have to be like, thank you for the abundance that you have sent me. I live in unlimited abundance, and I thank you for that, right? So you have to pray for the things, you know, thank you for loving me. Thank you for bringing love into my life. Right? How about loving yourself? How about being thankful for that love? Okay, we can love ourselves. We should love ourselves. So being thankful for the love that's in your life. You are never, ever alone, ever alone. Okay, there is no need to be lonely because we're never alone. You are surrounded by guides and angels and God. And you know, once you get to know your tribe, like I have met many in my tribe at this point, and I'm never alone. I never feel lonely because I know that I'm not. I just know that I'm not. Okay, so you are never alone ever. Gratitude empowers the manifestation. Never go to source. I just said that with a prayer. We don't pray to be healed. You pray healing. Okay, that is what Wayne Dyer says. You don't pray for healing. You just pray healing. You know, thank you for the healing. You know, I know you are sending me amazing healing, and I am grateful for that, right? That's what you do. Not, why are you not healing me? Why am I still ill? Why? You know, I need to heal. You need to help me. Like, so this type of stuff is just going to bring more of that, okay? Live in a state of appreciation and bewilderment. You know, remember when we were children and everything was like, whoa, like, you know, you would see a rainbow or a beach or an ocean or sand or a bug and everything for the first time, and you'd be like, right? So those miracles are still happening, people. But as we get older, we allow all those things to get stale, you know, feeling grass beneath your feet, all of these things, picking up snow, like all of these things, you need to be in this state of like, isn't this awesome? Right? Living in the present and enjoying those moments and those little miracles, because everything in life is a miracle. Okay. Don't complain about anything, and don't be a fault finder. You know, don't complain, and don't be someone who sits there finding fault with everything. Okay. Because again, you're going to keep bringing that. Okay. Appreciate the world and everything in it. Don't talk about them and us. I keep saying that. We are not separate. Okay. We are all from the same tree. We all are from the same tree. So there is no difference in color and wealth and status in life and all of that. We are all connected. We are one. So to put someone else down is to actually put yourself down. How's that? Okay. To insult someone else is insulting yourself. To think that that person is not good enough to sit with you on the bus, you shouldn't be sitting with you on the bus. Maybe you shouldn't be on the bus. Okay. So when you are putting people down and segregating people and hating people, you are hating and segregating and putting yourself down. And you are hating and segregating and putting God down. All right? Because we are all one. So think about the things that you say. There's no concept of enemies. We all come from the same source. Enjoy the difference in the customs and the ways of others, rather than disliking and criticizing and feeling threatened by them. Okay? There are people like terrorists in this world. Okay? Unfortunately, they live in fear. They preach God, but they're living in fear. They are like this crazy oxymoron, because they are talking about God consciousness and they're doing things in the name of God, but God would not choose what they're doing. Okay, so they are living in ego. They are separating themselves. Okay, so they are the epitome of not connected. Okay, feel connected to all of life. They can easily obtain the cooperation of others, believe fully in the law of attraction, stay tuned to it. Connectors don't believe in lucky. They enjoy the power of intention. So nothing happens because you're lucky. It's because you asked for it and you did it right. Okay. They know that they can negotiate anything they place their intention on, as long as they stay consistent. They will stay blissfully in tune with the universe rather than find fault with it. Choose to be in harmony with infinite energy. Choose to move with the higher vibrations and therefore deflect lower and slower vibrations from your life. The uplifting effect, when they come in contact with people and living in the lower energies, you can uplift other people around you, right? Finding and liberating yourself and surrendering to source, to that self-realization. You will liberate people around you. They can't help but be uplifted when they are with you. Okay? Peacefulness, being calm, all right? Radiate serenity and peace. People feel loved by connectors because they feel merged with source. Okay? So choose to feel good rather than feeling bad or judged by others. If other people are judging you, they're judging themselves. It's a reflection. Just because somebody says something to you doesn't make it so. Okay? Know yourself. Understand who you are. Okay? Know yourself. Just because somebody says something doesn't make it so. Feeling bad is a choice and isn't useful for changing unpleasant situations. So if you feel bad about something, if you feel angry about something, if you feel put out or sad or hurt about something, it's a choice. Okay, I felt hurt about something today, and I kind of said, and all I could say to my friend who I felt hurt by, because I know her intention is not to hurt me. I know that, but what she's doing kind of hurt my feelings. And I'm just kind of thinking like, you know what? There's probably a reason for it. I don't know. I'm not in her head. And I'm just going to wish her well and hope that someday we will connect again, right? So, but for now, our paths are separating. And that's okay. That's okay. It hurt me. I was a little upset, but feeling bad about it isn't going to change anything. So all I can do is wish her well and hope that things really go and that her life is amazing. Okay. And that's all I can hope. All right. Live in harmony with spirit, never seeing yourself as separate. This is it. This is a key to see the power of intention at work on a daily basis. So if you feel like you're always connected, that really is the key to being connected. Okay. You don't feel connected and then question yourself as, are you connected? Are you connected? Because then that's kind of a fearful thing. Like, I don't know if I'm connected. That's having doubt, right? Just know that you are. Just know that you are. Okay. They see what they desire as if it has already materialized. So seeing the things that you want in your life like you already have it. Like you already have it. Okay. Like it's coming. It's on the way. It'll be here any day now. It's on its way. Okay. Because it's so real in your thoughts that you are already connected to it. Right. So I keep bringing up that $50,000 a month. It is so real in my life. It is so real in my thoughts that there's just no possibility of it not happening. It is going to happen. Okay. And that is a fact. So it is going to happen, and it's going to happen by the deadline that I put on it, because that is a real thing in my head. Okay. That is a real thing. That is what I keep putting out there all the time. Okay. Exceptionally generous and takes pleasure in giving. So we need to have this giving and receiving, right? So when you have, you give, right? So if you pick up a penny, don't say, oh my God, why didn't I pick up $1? Why couldn't this have been a $20 bill, right? Pick up the penny, be grateful, okay? And maybe give that penny to somebody, okay? If you pick them next time, it might be a nickel and a dime and a quarter. And before you know it, things are happening, right? So, don't see the signs and then just be like ungrateful about it, okay? And ask for and say like, well, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted this instead, okay? The secret is to think and act the same as source. It's always providing. It's always providing. So people who know me know that I'm always giving. My sessions with people, I'm always throwing in an extra session. I'm working with people on barter. I'm doing things with people. I'm trying to be generous. I always give things to people, right? If I know that they can't have it, right? So I've got a client that came yesterday and she needed some. I'm not using a lot of my massage stuff anymore because I don't do massage anymore. And she needed those plastic cups. She was looking for them. I said, I got some here, take them. How much? Whatever, just take it, right? So, it's about giving when you can, right? It will come back. So give and it will come back, all right? The more they give themselves, the more things flow. So be giving to yourself as well. And these are the ways that you know that you're connected, okay? These are all the ways that you know that you're connected. When you're not living in fear, when you can send love to people, when you can refuse to listen to negative thoughts about the things that you desire in your life, when you are not a fault finder, when you are not a complainer, okay? All of these things are ways that you can know that you are connected, okay? When you're searching within yourself, when you don't worry about the way that things have been and you are moving into the future, now, present, when you can pay attention to the little things in life and the amazing things that are going on around us, okay? All of these things matter when you can live in the present, okay? When you can just surrender yourself to source, when you don't talk about things that are missing in your life anymore and you talk about what you want as if you have it. All of these things matter. All of these things will bring you what you are looking for in your life, okay? So, tomorrow, we're going to talk about some ways that you can verbalize what you want to create in your world. So tomorrow we'll be talking a little bit more about how to verbalize those things and how to word them. Okay. So have a great day. I hope this was helpful for you. Some things to think about. I apologize for our little technical glitch there, but hey, stuff happens. And have a great day. All right. Love you all. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Look at my reflection in the mirror. I see that it's not the person who lives inside of me. Done with all the fear and doubts, the negativity. I'm shedding all the crap right now. I'm